Coming up on episode 185 of Creative Writing, I'm talking about the differences between Facebook ads and Amazon ads.
I can't go back to sleep, it's almost light. These restless thoughts have kept me up again tonight.
Hello and welcome to Creative Writing. This is the podcast for you, an author who wants to sell more books without being smarmy. And I'm your host, Kirsten Oliphant. I am so glad that you are here, even in the midst of what I know is going to be like a very echoey sound. We've just moved into my new office, and anyway, it's just not set up at all for the podcast. We're working on it. But I'm glad that you're here listening to my echoey voice, whether this is your first or 185th time. Wow, almost to 200 episodes. And this week, I'm going to be talking about differences and also some similarities between Facebook ads and Amazon ads. And if you want to find the show notes, which is going to have a lot of links and things I'm referencing, you can go to creativewriting.com/185 to find the show notes, which are actually, I have them as a big blog post every time. So it's not just kind of a random list of links and things like that. So it's actually a big blog post. So if you prefer reading, then you're probably reading and not listening to this at all. But if you also want to read and find more, you can do that. And just as an apology, also for those of you guys who do listen all the time, things are just spotty. We're getting into summer. We've been home with the 5 kids. We've had family kind of coming in and out, and it's just, I was doing an every other week schedule, but it's just going to kind of be what it is. That's my goal to a month. And last week I missed. And so I hate doing that for those of you guys who listen, but I know many people come and maybe you started with this episode and it's your very first, and then you're going to go back hopefully and binge all the other great episodes. But my goal is consistency, but I also am giving myself some grace with craziness of life. All right, let's get into the differences between Facebook ads and Amazon ads. So you're going to hear from a lot of people who will say, I love Facebook ads and I hate Amazon ads, or I love Amazon ads and I hate Facebook ads, and Facebook keeps shutting down my account, because that's a thing that happens. You're going to get a lot of different feedback. And typically I find that most people like one or the other. I don't talk to a lot of people who really like both. But both can actually be fantastic. It just kind of depends. For me, I'm finding Facebook ads to really be working for me right now. And finally, after taking lots of courses and doing lots of testing, I'm figuring out what's working for me. Amazon ads, not so much. I know how to use them. I'm seeing more of an ROI, the return on the investment, but not as much as I would like yet. So I'm still learning. And that's one of the things I'm going to end with, is that you've got to learn how to do these. But you're going to hear from people all over the place who have an opinion on one or the other, or don't use ads at all. But I think both can absolutely be effective, but there's some really big differences, and maybe this will help you figure out where you want to start. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking is giving you guys an overview. I'm not at all going deep. I'm not at all going to explain all the differences and similarities, but just enough to kind of give you an idea of maybe where you want to start. So I do want to actually begin with the differences between them. And this is one that I think is hugely important that I want to do first. And that is this. The first difference is that Facebook will spend your money. Amazon might. And this is really key to know, because you can't go into both ad platforms and set up the same daily budget and think the same thing is going to happen. Okay. So for example, on Facebook, if you set a daily budget of $200, Facebook will spend that $200. There are cases where they won't, and usually it has to do with something like your ad getting rejected or your audience not being big enough. But for the most part, Facebook hears you say, this is my daily budget, and they say, okay, we're gonna be a good steward of that budget you've set, and we're spending all your money. Whereas on Amazon, I have multiple ads whose daily budget is $500 or more. And my monthly spend on Amazon is usually like $100 total. So Amazon is totally different in how the ads are set up. Now, I do know people who have lost a bunch of money and had Amazon spend it, but because of the way their ads are set up, you're actually setting up the cost per click. And that's where I've seen people mess up. So the daily budget might be super high, but unless you're making that cost per click really high, and really high, usually, you start at like 25 cents, maybe 30 cents per click is your budget that you're giving them. And so that's where you can really make the mistake, where I know people who put the decimal point in the wrong place and put $3 per click, or I think there's somebody in a group recently lamenting they put like $10 per click. And within an hour, Amazon had spent an enormous amount of money. So, there's a difference in fundamentally how they spend money and how they show your ads. Because the other thing about Amazon ads that kind of ties closely to this, the reason they don't always spend all that money is your ads aren't always getting seen. And so, you may not get a lot of impressions. Impressions are kind of like the eyeballs on it. And so you're not even be getting impressions. Sometimes on Amazon, even though I know how to set up ads, some ads just don't show up, or you'll get 4 impressions. And there's no way Amazon can spend your $100 a day budget, or even a $5 a day budget. I have some ads with a lower budget per day because I'm testing stuff. But even then, they don't always spend the whole budget. So that's a huge thing to know right away when you're setting these up, because I don't want you to lose money. So if you're thinking about using one or the other, just realize fundamentally the way that they're set up is different. Facebook is much more likely to burn through tons of cash, but I do know people who have also burned through a ton on Amazon. It's just a little harder to get Amazon to spend your money. So whichever one you're setting up, be really, really careful in how you're setting things, and what your settings are, because you don't want to have like the Amazon mindset that you can have this like $500 a day budget when you're going over to Facebook, because Facebook, they'll find a place to spend that $500. They'll say, thanks a lot, and let's go shopping. Another really big difference is that you can't target all the authors and books you want to on Facebook, but you can on Amazon. So Facebook is it's Amazon obviously sells lots more than books, but Facebook is not a book platform, right? It's not a book selling platform. And so in that same way, they don't have the opportunity for targeting all of the authors, especially when we get talking about indie authors, and they're not going to have that opportunity. Often they really only have pages that for authors or books that have a really pretty massive following. And so it's a little bit harder, where in Amazon, you could go and look through like the also bought's below your book, like what people have also bought or what they've also read, and find authors who don't have big names, but might be a really good target for your book. And you can plug that right into Amazon and target that specific book and that specific author. Because Amazon's a book selling platform. And so that's available. So that's something really important to know, because when you are planning your targeting on Facebook, you're going to have to do a little bit more work. Now, they allow targeting that Amazon doesn't, such as behavior and age and things like that. So again, it's not that one's better than the other, but Facebook's going to take a little bit more work to get those audiences that are actually the correct audiences, because you might not be able to target the things you want. And you figure this out when you're doing the detailed targeting, and you'll enter something in and it's not an option for you to target. And that is a lot of things, and even some bigger authors. So there's differences in who you can target. And that's pretty important to know as well, because it means that you have to have some sense going in. I mean, when you're going into Amazon, you're going to need to do like some keyword research or some category research or author research to figure out what your targets are there. But anything that's there, you can target. Where Facebook, you're going to have to figure out, you might be targeting by behavior, or, for clean romance, sometimes my best target is like the Hallmark channel or the Lifetime movie channel. And those aren't even books, right? So it takes a little bit of work on either side, but you're going to be doing a little bit more out of the box thinking on Facebook when it comes to those audiences. A third difference, and this really ties into that last one in terms of preparedness and what you're going to have to do, but you're going to have to focus way more on images and ad copy when you're using Facebook. So Amazon ads, if you haven't ever set them up, and just FYI, a lot of people call them AMS ads, and I think Amazon changed the name, but people still call them that. So when I'm talking about Amazon ads, I'm talking about AMS ads. You may have heard them that way. I'm just using Amazon ads because that's what they're using. But on Amazon ads, basically, they're selling your book with the cover of your book. So you don't need to have an image at all. You just need to have your solid cover, which hopefully is already solid because you've got it up for sale. And then you can run ads on Amazon without ad copy at all. And I have some successful ads running with no ad copy whatsoever, just nothing. So you're going to need a lot less prep in terms of your ad itself on Amazon. But Facebook, really big difference. So you first of all have the image, and the image is what stops people from scrolling in the feed. And so that image is very, very massively important. And your book cover may not be the right image. In fact, I almost never use the book cover itself at all. I might use pieces of it. Like I might cut out the text and use things because Amazon doesn't want a lot of text. And sometimes they'll say book covers are fine. Sometimes their bots see things that aren't words and think it's text and they get confused. But generally speaking, I'm not using anything from my book covers as ads in my Facebook ads at all. So that requires kind of knowing a little bit and testing a little bit what images do work for the audiences you're trying to reach, what's going to stop people from scrolling, and picking those things out. You also have to know ad copy. You can't just have an image up there. You have room for text on Facebook ads, and that's going to be the part, if you've seen a Facebook ad, the smaller normal size text above the image. And you're also going to have a headline, and that's on the gray part that's kind of below the image. Now, there's also a little description option, which I usually am not using now. I've heard Facebook's getting rid of them soon anyway, but that will be a little bit smaller text below the headline. But you potentially have those three places where you're going to have to work on your ad copy. And they're all three kind of serving different purposes. And again, I'm going to kind of toss out the description, but the headline needs to really grab people and be kind of hooky and getting people to actually stop and see, because I think from what I've read about heat maps and what people look at on Facebook, heat map kind of tests what people look at or where they engage on websites. But the image is what stops people first, then the headline, which is right below the image and big and bold, and then the text up top. So there are three different areas that you have to really work on: that image, the headline copy, and then the text copy up above. And those are all really key things. They all may impact your ad. So you have to have a lot more kind of know-how and practice and figure out those things. And there's more things to test. Whereas on Amazon, you could test a whole lot of different things just with your book cover that you already have and not putting any ad copy at all. So there's going to be a little bit more work that's going to go into Facebook ads, because you have to really know how to do all of those moving parts on there. So those are obviously not all the differences, but those are, I think, key differences as you're thinking about what ads to get started with, or wondering kind of just in general how those platforms are different. Those are some of the biggest differences that strike me, having used both. But there are some similarities, and so I'm going to point out a couple of those as well. And I think that one of the biggest similarities, and this goes back to what I said at the beginning, but both of these platforms can sell books for you. Both of them can. And again, everybody has their opinion on which one is better, which one's better for them. But you need to figure out what works for you. And if possible, work on honing your skills and your knowledge so that they both are working for you. I'm actually finding that one is working better for one series of my books and another one is working better for the other. So like one ad platform is working better for one kind of book for me, and the other one is doing better on a different series altogether. So you need to figure out and test what works for you, but they both absolutely can be effective. So don't listen to somebody who says like Facebook ads never work or Amazon ads never work. I'm very for the most part, I'm not going to give you nevers, but I'm going to tell you that there's a lot of options for you and you need to kind of figure out your path. And so that's something important. But this is one that they share that I hate. They're both really hard to gauge the results, to kind of read the results and figure out which one or what is having ROI for you. And it seems like this shouldn't be an issue, right? Like we have these two companies, Facebook and Amazon, that are making tons and tons of money. Shouldn't it be easy to get their reporting, right and figure out what's working? Yes, it should, but it's not easy. Even Amazon, you'd assume it's the book platform. The books are selling right there. Facebook has a little disconnect because you're sending them from Facebook to somewhere else. But even on Amazon, it's really hard. So I'll start with Amazon. Their reporting dashboard stinks. And so when you're looking at your Amazon ads and looking at the results, it's just not always accurate. It's not always showing the right things. It's not always showing the right time. when things sell. And so that's a problem. And so a lot of people don't even look at the, kind of what the Amazon ads dashboard is saying, but they'll look at some of the parts it's saying and then go look at the sales on the reporting on their KDP dashboard, like where you actually upload the books to see the sales. Now, we also have to talk about the fact that Kindle Unlimited, you're not going to see how many people borrowed your book. And so that's a challenge as well, because if your book is in Kindle Unlimited, your Amazon sales dashboard might show nothing. And I've found that it's a lot easier. I have a couple books that are wide, which means they're not just on Amazon. They're not in Kindle Unlimited. So the only way I get paid is when people buy the books on Amazon or iBooks or wherever. But when I'm running Amazon ads, I can actually see a little bit better what ads are effective because I can see the sales. Because I might not make a sale on a Kindle Unlimited book, but I might be getting a lot of borrows. And that's just really hard to know because you're not going to see the tracking. On Facebook, it's a little bit easier to understand why you're not going to always know if an ad is working, because Facebook is over on one place and you're sending them somewhere else. So they could get over there and like your ad could stop them and they could click and they could get to Amazon and then not buy your book. And it's really hard to know what's working. Now, some people will get around this by using Amazon affiliate links, and this violates the terms of service of Amazon. And it's really tricky with disclosure as well. And so I cannot recommend doing that. And I know people who've lost their Amazon affiliate accounts for doing that. There are other options like reader links or books to read or some other shortened link that might do some tracking for you. But Facebook ads can be really nitpicky, and a lot of people will have ads either rejected or they just won't run, or they'll get their ad account disabled for various reasons. Again, Facebook is really picky, and a lot of these companies are using bots, like a motorized, AI type thing, not a person to look at ads and reject them or close your account. So those kinds of links sometimes will not run on Amazon or I'm sorry, on Facebook. They won't run and they don't always like them. And so I usually use a clean Amazon link, which means it's just like, Amazon.com product and then that ASIN number behind it when I'm using my Facebook ads. But you don't want to use an affiliate link, but that again makes it really hard to track because you don't know what they're doing. So for both of these types of campaigns on Amazon and Facebook, I will always name those campaigns because each campaign has a name on Amazon and Facebook. I will name it what the rank of the book is. And, the thing and this is another difference just to barely touch on, but Amazon those ads tend to be ones that can go and run for a longer period of time, where Facebook ads, it's not that you can't run them for a long time, because I do know people that run them a lot, but I see more people trading out the Amazon ads and really kind of seeing quicker results. So it's a little bit more, it can be more of a sprint, although I know marathoners using them for marathon ads, but Amazon ads tend to be a little bit more of a long-term picture. So I don't see, if I'm just running Amazon ads, I don't see the rank boost always necessarily that I will if I run a Facebook ad, where with Facebook ads, I can run an ad and almost immediately start to see the rank drop. And the other thing that makes it really hard for gauging whether something's working is you have to take into account all the other factors. So if you're running a launch, you might have newsletter swaps set up, or you might have other email promo sites that are sending out your book. Or, there's just random organic, sales for things, or someone who bought a book like, a month ago from you, just finished it, and now they're reading through and buying your other one. So it's really hard to gauge those results and know what's working and not working, which is really frustrating, because if you're going to spend your money on either Facebook ads or Amazon ads, you want to know what's working, but it's not easy. It takes some know-how. And this is kind of the last difference I'm going to highlight, similarity I'm going to highlight. And again, there's tons of similarities, tons of differences. I'm just highlighting a few. But this one's hugely important. Neither ads platform will sell your book if your cover, blurb, and your book are not solid. And this is just, before you're going to do anything else, before you put any more money into your book, you need to have these things locked down. You need to have a professional looking cover that is appropriate for your genre. You need to have a blurb that hooks readers, and you need to have a book that's good. if you don't have those things, you're going to struggle to sell books. Like obviously the book part is on the other side of the sale because someone might buy it. But if you're disappointing readers, you're going to get low reviews, or you're going to get people that don't, maybe they check it out in KU and then read a page and send it back, in which case you're going to get paid, fractions of a penny for that sale, because you're getting paid for Kindle Unlimited by the pages read. It's going to have an impact long-term on you if your book is not what readers want. And this varies from genre to genre, what the readers really are looking for. So it really, if you're going to put money into ads, you have to know that those things are correct. And I've got some links in the show notes that are going to help you kind of figure those things out. So, increasing your sales rank on Amazon, that was episode 119. Niche it down a notch, where I talk about the different niches and the power of niches, which is episode 150. And then another one is writing to market. And that's one I talk about in episode 181, all about positioning your book for better sales. And so you need to get those things locked down, or neither platform is going to work. Both could work, but neither one's going to if you don't have those things correct. So which ads should you use? If you're an ad newbie, and I will say that, having done this for a couple of years now, ads are just necessary. There's very few people who are selling organically without paying for ads, just period. It's too crowded. There's too many good authors. There's too many smart, savvy authors using ads for you not to be. But if you're just starting out, I would say you should use neither, because the reality is this: if you don't take some time to learn them, like I've pointed out some similarities and some of the big differences, but if you don't take time to learn them, in each platform separately, you're really not going to find success unless it's an accident. And then you're not going to be able to replicate it. So the goal is to know how to test, to tweak, and to see those results and how to scale them up. And so that requires knowledge on your part. So if you're just starting out, I would recommend not using either of those ad platforms, because there's a lot of learning involved, a lot more risk involved. I would recommend learning those while you're using the paid email promo sites like eReader News Today, Robin Reads, BookBub, if you can get them, although that's hugely expensive. And if you're a newbie and, I think BookBub's just really random in what they accept and don't accept. But if you can get one and your book isn't positioned correctly, you're going to just lose money, because those things are like hundreds of dollars. But those kinds of sites where they've built up an email list, because if you haven't listened forever, this might be new, but most of you know, email is what sells books. Whether it's your newsletter or somebody else's that has more followers, email sells books more than social media. It's why I never recommend paying for a service that's like, I'm going to send 1,000 tweets. I get those all the time. And if you go, just for kicks, I got one of those emails this week, and I went and clicked on their Twitter. I was like, okay, well, let's just let me give them the benefit of the doubt, because I got the email and just rolled my eyes. I was like, you know what? I don't know everything. Let's just go and see. So I went to their Twitter feed, and they had a lot of followers on Twitter, but there was no engagement. And then every single tweet was selling a book, books of different genres. So I was like, okay, first of all, this looks bad, right? Looks bad, no engagement, lots of different genres. It's not targeted. Let's go ahead and click some of these books. I did not find one book that was listed on their Twitter feed. And I clicked through, I guess, only like 5 or 6. Not one book that was ranked well on Amazon. Not one. And they were all like in the 200,000 in the store or something like that. And so I'm like, that doesn't work. This is just proof it doesn't work. Email sells books. So using these sites that are tested and tried and that have thousands of email subscribers, and often they're broken down into genre, which is going to be even more effective for you. So those have much less risk to them. They don't all work. I've had some that are duds. I've had some that sell well one time, not so well another time. You can track that. I would highly recommend when you start out, maybe tracking that on a spreadsheet and doing them one at a time, so that you can say, okay, this day is this person, this day is this one. So you can kind of see the results from them. But either way, there's a lot less risk involved. So I would recommend, if you're just starting with ads, start with those, because they're a solid investment. They're less risky. Meanwhile, learn Amazon and Facebook ads and see which one works for you, or see if you can get both to work for you. And I've got some resources I'm going to link to in the show notes. There's a free Amazon ad course from Kindlepreneur. And I will say that I've done a couple different free and paid Amazon courses. Same with Facebook. And this is the other thing you're going to find, y'all. Everybody has a different method. So I've done 3 different Amazon courses on Amazon ads, and they are all different in how they approach them. And I've found each one to have some effectiveness to it, even though some of them are like polar opposites from each other. So it's good to look at different things. I'm also going to link to a book that I like, Help My Facebook Ads Suck by Mal Cooper, which is fantastic and like a $10 investment, I think is how much that one costs. I am also running a Facebook ads workshop. Now, if you're listening before June 16th, the live workshop will be on June 16th, but I will be selling the replay, and I'm actually going to sell it for more because whenever I do these workshops, I have bonus resources that go in there with the replay, kind of where I have them all on course software. So it's like you go into log in and you've got all this info. But I've done a bunch of different videos. So it's going to be more. It's only $50 though if you're buying it live and attending live. The replay, I'm probably going to bump up the price. I need to see how much total extra content I put in there. But I have a whole lot of videos on different kinds of ads and that just walk you through setting up ads and a whole document for those of you guys who want to see screenshots and all that. But if you want more on that, you can go to creativewriting.com/workshop and look for the Facebook ads workshop information. Whether you're listening again before June 16th or after, that is going to be located at creativewriting.com/workshop. And I will tell you that, this is me not explaining the whole of Facebook ads to you, but it's getting you through the basics. So you're going to walk away able to create ads that are affordable. So if you're on a budget, and if you're just starting out, you're not going to lose a ton of money because there are a few things I hate more than wasting time and wasting money. So I'm going to do neither of those things. I'm going to boil it straight down to just what you need to know. And you're going to walk away being able to set up ads that I will hope are effective for you, and that are not going to blow your budget. So anyway, that's another option for you. But to sum it up, we need ads to sell books. Your book needs to have a professional cover that's genre appropriate, not just professional, because there are some beautiful covers that don't sell books because they don't look like the kind of book it is. And then you need to have a great blurb that hooks people in and a solid book to sell them. But you need ads to sell your books because we're in a day and age where things are really crowded, and without some kind of ads, your book is probably not going to sell. There are some great organic methods, and maybe I should talk about that next time. Organic being unpaid. But without ads, it's really going to be hard to find the success that you would. But you can also lose a lot of money, so don't do that. Head over to the show notes at creativewriting.com/185 so that you can find all the information. And I really do hope you join me on the Facebook ads workshop. You guys, I don't like pushing my own stuff or doing those kind of whole sales hook things where it's like really pushy or you're going to make millions of dollars. But I will say that these ads are effective, and after spending a bunch of money on different courses, trying different methods myself from these different places, I think I've honed down a pretty good method that is working for me and spending very little money and making a much bigger profit. So I would love for you guys to join me on that. I'm super thankful that you listened today. I'm super thankful for those of you guys who listen every week. I'd love to connect with you more. You can do that and actually connect with the whole community if you go to creativewriting.com/community, and that's the free Facebook group. You can also sign up for my email every week, comes out on Fridays, called The Quick Fix, with tips, resources, links, and more for authors wanting to sell more books. And that is creativewriting.com/quickfix. Thanks so much to Jasmine Commerce of JasmineCommerceMusic.com for the wonderful tunes you are hearing on this show. Now it's time for you to go out and create content that you love and serve your people well.